This has been the most diverse clinicals that everyone's done. I think most people are finding their placements interesting, even if it's not exactly what they want. Hey everyone, it is almost 7. I'm driving to my clinicals. Again, I'm in my community health rotation. People have all different kinds of clinicals for this one. Some people are at schools, like following a school nurse, which I think would have been fun. Some people are at workplaces following like a workplace nurse that would help address, sound like they address workplace violence, and then obviously like if you get injured on the job or if you're injured and need to go back to work, I think maybe they helped with that a little bit too. Let's see, what else are people doing? Wound clinic. I'm not the only one at a wound clinic. I think a few people are at like outpatient rehab places. So a lot of different jobs for community health. One person is at a job where their nurse preceptor like sometimes never interacts with a patient all day. I forget exactly what she said that nurse did. Probably some sort of case management or insurance thing, but she was not happy with her placement. And you know, I wasn't happy with my critical care placements. Sometimes that happens, but I think most people are finding their placements interesting, even if it's not exactly what they want. Oh, home health. I know at least one person's a home health nurse, like where you go from house to house, doing some wound dressing changes and follow up from people who got out of the hospital and need some extra help. And hospice. I know at least one person is shadowing a hospice nurse, which I really would have liked that. So lots of different things that you can do in your community health rotation. I will say it's different for us than all our other rotations, because for most of us, this is the first rotation we've had where we can't do 12-hour days. Most of these rotations, these nurses are not working 12-hour days, which means it takes more trips to get your hours in. And we have the same amount of visits, same amount of clinic hours this time as last time. But I think instead of like 7.5 or 8 days of 12-hour shifts, I have 11 days. And I do get to go home early at least one of those days. They did tell us we're doing something called a windshield survey, which if you're in community nursing, you probably know what it is. It sounds like it is a common thing. Our school didn't make it up, but it's supposed to be driving around town to get a feel for the community you're in. And I picked our community that we live in, so it was really easy for me to do. But they gave us 2 clinical hours for time to do our windshield survey for our community. And another thing we have for this rotation is because all our clinical hours are in such different places, and some people interact with possibly, tons and tons of patients. Some people maybe interact with only one patient or no patients on a particular day. Our documentation is very different for this rotation. We don't have to document specific things about our clinicals for each time we go in, which does help a lot with time. What we do have is a big old project, and Elmhurst, bless them, has tried to break it down into 5 smaller projects. We're the second cohort to go through this. They're still getting used to how to do things and learning. These 5 assignments are kind of jumbled together in some ways, and you don't know when you start the first assignment where you're going with it unless you read ahead a whole lot. I read ahead a little bit at all the assignments before I started. I kind of had a tiny idea, but I was confused. I finally looked at it more yesterday. What exactly is in all 5 of these assignments? I finally, the light went off and I got a grasp better of what I'm supposed to be doing. But it is a big project. It is a big project based on whatever your population you're serving is in your community clinicals. So I think it's challenging, and it is taking a lot of time. But the light went off on all the pieces for mine. I think I have a plan. It was kind of exciting to think about what I wanted to do, and also nutrition. And I told my preceptor that she was asking, so what are you doing for this project? I said, well, I know we have to come up with some goals. I can't remember if it's 3 or 1. Well, the reason why is because one of the parts it tells us to come up with 3 goals, and the next part it tells us to pick 1 to focus on. But I told her 2 of them I thought of was transportation issues and nutrition education for wound healing. And when I said that, she said,
oh yeah, our nurse practitioner used to order Juven a lot for patients who had slow healing wounds to help them heal.
Well, I'd heard of it before because I was looking into stuff for Raylan's wound healing, and it's a little powder supplement with vitamins, nutrients, and I think a little protein, collagen stuff that is designed to help with wound healing. So I was familiar with it a little bit, and I said, oh, they don't do that anymore? She's like,
we had some supply issues, I think. I don't remember.
So thinking about it, I think my priority is going to be trying to figure out how to get nutritional supplements back into the wound clinic or more readily available for patients. So my mind was spinning about that last night. I actually reached out to 3 different product representatives for Juven and then 2 other supplements that are similar to Juven. And then I even filled out a very brief thing requesting grant money to cover the cost of supplements. I filled out a little thing and it was like, you have permission to write us a letter in the next 2 weeks to tell us more about your grant proposal, and then we will respond by the end of July and let you know if you can fill out the full application. So I'm sort of in a way working on a grant for covering the cost of these nutritional supplements. We'll see where that goes. I'm not planning on doing schoolwork past May, but if it gets that far and it looks like there's a really good chance they could get this, I'll see what the application looks like. Oh, and at the very least, I would pass it on to the wound clinic and say, look, I did the beginning footwork of this. You could possibly get a grant if you want to finish it. So yeah, I'm excited that I've got the project sort of figured out. But that's a little bit about what wound clinic clinicals look like. Very different from all the other clinical rotations. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying hearing about other people's jobs too, because I'm not interested in hospital jobs, and this has been the most diverse clinicals that everyone's done. So I like hearing about everyone's stuff. But yeah, that's what I know, and hope that helps you if you're wondering what community health rotation's like, because that's what it's been like for me. Sorry it's so bright. I'm parking to get McDonald's, of course. All right, what'd you do on your community health rotation if you are already through nursing school?